Good evening, everyone. Welcome to TMA Sunday Night Live. As always, with the Pidge, I'm joined by the podcast king, there's Sir Ray, and also a lot proudly to announce we've got the FA Cup final 84 left back, a Watford legend in his own right, Mr. Neil Price. So once again, Neil, thank you ever so much, sir.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure to see you guys.
Brilliant. Right.
It's been too long, mate. Too long.
Been definitely too long, mate. Yeah. Right, guys. We're sponsored by Sweets for All in association also with Minx Tattoos. Get your questions over to Neil. Also, in the second half of the show, we'll be getting your fan questions and topics, and we'll read out every single one of those as well, guys and girls. So, Neil. So started obviously in the youth team, working with Tom Wally, sort of a demigod in many ways. We've asked many player what it's like working with Tom, but what was your own experiences starting from the bottom?
Too many, mate. You know, too many. He's just an absolute. Well, he's beyond a legend, really. He's. They talk about Eric Harrison, you know, and they say that guy's the guru of youth team players. You know, with the class of whatever it was at Man United. He doesn't actually. He doesn't come close to Tom, does he? I mean, no. If you think about Tom's record, 2 Youth Cup winning finals at Watford and a final as well they lost in. Also, he did that at Arsenal and Millwall.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Just that alone, you just look, God, you know, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And you know, I met him when I was 13, because you could only go to football clubs when you were 13, then, or at least be training with them. That's how it was, which I think should be like that now, to be fair. You should enjoy your childhood and play football with your mates till then, I think. And yeah, I mean, that guy not only was a man that you know brought me through football, and I had a privilege to be part of all that. It was like being in the army. It was like being a sergeant major to me, and I was a cocky little shit from Hemel Hempstead, you know, and I thought I knew it all. You know what it's like back in the day, and he weren't having that, was he? So for me, you know, he's a massive influence on my life, not just my football.
Brilliant. Go on, Ray, come in, mate.
Neil, well, thanks for being on the show, and the amount of people. Oh, it's great to have you on. The amount of people that have come through that youth ranks. Tom Wally, as you say, typical sergeant major, the General Graham Taylor, and he's just a legend beyond. The people that he's produced and brought through, Laurel Sterlings and, you know, Callie, you know, Luther.
Well, I just think I've always been saying this because obviously I'm not bright enough to do this, but if somebody was to actually write or research how many players Tom actually brought through that played at least one first team game at Watford from the youth team, okay, you will be astounded how many it is.
Yeah.
Because we all forget, you know, you can, like you're saying, you go, you know, Callie, you can go to Holdsworths, you can, I mean, God, you know, in our group, I think everybody played. Charlie Palmer, Gibbsy,
Francis Cassidy,
Paul Franklin, Cass, myself, you know, I mean, God, Jimmy Gilligan, Ian Richard, you know, Richard Jobson came on, didn't he, a bit later, but, you know, and if you look at it and then you go above us to Gary Porter's and, you know, beyond, Tim Sherwood's and beyond, you know, it's amazing. The stats must be unbelievable. I'd love someone to do that because it would really sort of, you know, when you saw it on black and white, it would be just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? For me, I was a young raw left back, or I was actually left footer really. I used to play. You know what it's like at school football. You score 13 goals in 15-0 win, don't you? And I'm a defender, and you know, because the kids aren't great at school and that sort of thing. But he liked. I was fortunate that I was quite raw. I was from Hemel. I'd kick my grandma, so they used to tell me in them days when I played football, and they liked a bit of that. And I thought they both saw a little bit of them in me, because Tom obviously left-footed, same as me. You know, determined. You know, gave 100%. Perhaps not the most gifted of actual ability footballers, if you know what I mean. I wasn't a Glenn Hoddle or a, you know, whatever that might have been. but I had some good attributes. The same as Tom. Tom made the most of what he had. Same with the Gaffer. You know, Gaffer wasn't the greatest footballer in the world, was he? You know, when he played. But they saw a bit in me. I can tell you a good story about this. We were apprentices. Okay, it's my first year, so you got 2 years, and in between they could let you go. So they could let you go when you were 17. So after the first year, we all sat in the changing room, the old away changing room, eating our lunch and stuff, because that's what you did. Mum sent you it in, or your landlady, or whatever. And he came in, and he just went impromptu, just went round all of our. There was 5 of us in our year group. He went round all of us, and he did a little summary on everybody. And I was last, okay. And when he started at me, you know, it was my turn. I thought, shit, I'm sweating. You know, I'm thinking, oh my god, and you know. So he's gone, and as for you, he said, "You're the worst apprentice I've ever had." And I thought, oh, I'm 17. I'm thinking, oh, that's me done. I'm done, right? And he went, because if something's happened, you either done it, you know about it, or you've been part of it. He said. And to be honest, you've got loads of spirit. He said, you give me 100% and I really like you. And that was it.
Right.
And you just think, oh my God, I've gone from that to that. And it was amazing how he involved the Gaffer and Tom were about character. I mean, you had to be able to play, but they were about character and desire and intensity, because they felt if you didn't have that, then when the going got tough, you were never going to make the best of yourself. And I think that's what's missing in today's football.
Yes, definitely.
When you look round the players, I hardly watch Premiership football. Or if I do, I watched the game this afternoon. Is it Liverpool and wherever it was? I think I missed the best half, to be fair. I watched the first half. And I nearly fell asleep. How many sideways, backways, you know, and these guys are an absolute superstars. And I'm thinking that is just boring rubbish that I would not pay to go and watch.
It's a lot of the time as well in certain games. You see, it's a lot of, you know, wait your moment, and you sort of wait for half an hour for an actual shot on goal sometimes.
Yeah. Well, do you know what the Gaffer used to say? This is because, I mean, God, he used to talk, didn't he? But what he used to say, his philosophy was, we passed the ball forward quickly with quality. Yeah. And we got the ball into the last third quickly, right? Because he never understood that in the last 5 minutes of the game, when you need a goal, what does everybody do? They get the ball in the last third quickly. So why can't we do that the whole game?
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, I mean, people forget as a fullback, and Shirley will tell you this, and we speak about it a lot, me and Shirley. We speak a lot about the old days football. Yeah. And when Shirley got the ball, we were told to hit the white lines, hit wide. And if he could throw it to me, or he could throw it to, you know, whoever it was, Ricey, Gibbsy, whoever it might have been, Dave Barsley, right back, then he wanted you to have the ball from there. But what he then did is the 2 front players that had to keep continually crossing over, you play the ball into the hole down the channels, Barnsley would click up, would push up, you would push up, and then Barnsley would get the ball. And then he can put people on it and get crosses in. And Callie was expected to trap the back post. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, me and Ray have marked on this many times, and Ray's. I mean, I'm proud to say I'm a friend of Callie's now, but Ray's been a good friend of Callie's for many years, and we've said to him as well that Taylor's always his philosophy when everyone was going on about the long ball game. He said, and I mean, he said it in at least one interview, and I know there's one on the BBC it's going around on YouTube where he says, you know, if it was always that easy, then everyone should be doing it. You know, when you look at the Wimbledon style, with Watford style, there's a bit more class about it.
Well, Wimbledon is just Vinny and the boys trying to intimidate people and get the ball. Is a bit. To be fair, a bit like Boothroyd.
Yeah,
Boothroyd wasn't the Gaffer's football. Boothroyd was just lob it into the box and then get second pieces. That's not what the Gaffer did. No, he wanted to get the ball with quality into forward players, and then Barnsley or the wingers would have to join in and sometimes go past, and then I'd be expected to get it back. And he wanted balls early into the box, and we had to attack the ball in the box. Luther scored. Speak to Luther about it. He scored so many goals like that because we all knew what we were doing.
Yeah, you
And
wouldn't finish
everybody knew
second.
once someone got it, what was happening next.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't have finished second playing just hoof football. You'd have to have a bit of class about you, a bit of purpose about you as well.
And do you know what we did? We actually ran over people. So we were the fittest club alive. We used to call ourselves Watford Harriers at the time. We used to moan like you wouldn't believe. All them runs. Right, you probably remember the cross-country runs at Watford at Canterbury Park. Yeah, we've done 15-mile runs when the game's been off, and it's been given a little piece of paper, and the staff have been around the pit, you know, the route. I mean, we were fit, and we used to run over people, and they couldn't cope with us. It's relentless, and that's why you'd have Watford teams going and beating Chelsea 5, Tottenham 5. You know, because they didn't fancy it. We'll play next week. All their little fancy Dans will play next week. It's too hard to play against these guys. And that's exactly what he did. And he's absolute genius, the gaffer. Because he had a group, no disrespect, and everybody would probably tell you this. He had a group of players that he got the best out of every one of us in our own way. Because personally, I think Callie's a better crosser than David Beckham. I told him that, but, you know, I don't tell him it very often. But if you think about him, when you watched him, right, he's just unbelievable. I mean, I spent a lot of time playing against him because on a Friday, because he's 2 years older than me, Callie, on a Friday morning, we used to play first team reserves, and we'd play as we were expected to train as expected to play.
Yeah,
I used to kick the living shit out of Callie. If I did, right? But I got sent in a dozen times on a Friday morning for really trying to absolutely assassinate him. Okay. Now, why I did that was because you couldn't really get near him one way or the other. So if you didn't get near enough to you, he'd cross it over your left shoulder. If you got too far to him, he'd just have one touch and whip it round you. And it was every time the ball went in the box, 8 times out of 10, it hit where it should do. He had no pace at all, Callie, nothing. But he had a wand of a right foot that he knew how to get round you. And then, you know, you had Barnsley on the other side. Unbelievable. Best player I think I've played with. You couldn't get near him. Strong, quick, athletic, ability. You know, them players are as good as anything in their own day, but never got Barnsley. But a lot of the others never got the actual recognition they should have got.
No.
At all.
They should have got on, really, shouldn't they? Callie and Walter, people like that, because they went to under 21s, didn't they?
That was a lot to do with the gaffer, though, really, wasn't it? Because I mean, there was a lot of years. If you ask everybody that's my era-ish and just a bit before me, some of the older boys, the gaffer at the time was so what's the word for it? Focused, and he was going to succeed. Whatever happened, he was driven. You know, like every top person is driven and they're merciless, really. Yeah. And he made decisions that didn't have any empathy to them at all. Okay, but it worked, and at the end of the day, he became England manager, and look what he did. So he was really driven at that time to be the best you can. And in my day, if you wasn't in and around the first team at 18, you were gone. Not now. Right. 23. They call him Harvey Barnes a young player. He's 24 this year. You know, what's that about?
Yeah, it's not really anymore. I mean, it's like Heskey saying he was an up-and-coming player for all those years, and he suddenly turned 28. You know,
yeah. And you just look at it and you think, I know the world's changed, and it's not as it was, and it will never be like that. But I just think that we were all privileged to be part supporters and everybody to be part of something that will never ever be achieved again, ever.
No.
I mean, even, getting to the cup final, and, we all say on the day, I've rewatched that again. I tell you what, we're really unlucky because I've never watched it for 20 years. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I never watched it because we lost. Yeah, and that was a big game and what have you. But if you watch it again and you actually do watch it properly, you'll see up until their goal, which is a great goal from Sharp on the turn, isn't it? Straight off the boat. Yeah. We had 3 good chances the way we should have scored. We dominated the game. They then took the game into the half time. We came out in the second half and dominated the game again. And then they scored the goal that it wasn't a goal then. It certainly wouldn't be a goal now. And then, to be honest, there was only one winner after that. Do you know what I mean? So you look at the game and you think, well, if we could have scored first, I think we'd have won the game.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what I didn't understand about the 6-0. I was at that game and people are going, oh, Man City, Man City, Man City. Everton were the Man City of our day. They went on to win the league twice after that. If you remember, was it 85 and 86? They won the league. Yeah.
I think the cup now, 87. Yeah.
You don't lose 6-0 to anybody in a cup final.
No.
I was sitting next to a lot of the lads that played. Yeah. And we were all saying to each other, do you know what? 3-0 down, 4-0 down. I'm taking them with us. I'm not letting little Raheem and De Bruyne take the piss. You're going off. Yeah, you're coming down with me. If I'm going to be humiliated, you're coming down with me. And that might be the wrong attitude. If it was like pure football.
No,
but you've got to have a bit of that, haven't you?
Yeah.
Could have a bit of guts, and I think that's what was lacking. In '84, we had the guts. We had the guts of the team, and people would fight for each other.
Yeah, and that's what's missing today, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, and it's a shame. The 6-0 was. I mean, look, City can do that to anybody, but in a cup final, do you let that happen to you? Really?
No.
I don't think you do, and that's what disappointed with me on the day. We were all disappointed about it because it's a great achievement, and to go there and do that is not right. Supporters were fantastic, by the way.
Yeah,
on the day they were absolutely superb, but you can't let everybody down by losing 6-0 to anyone, can you?
No. No, I think there was an individual bits of quality, but also there was a lack of. Once we missed that chance, Pereira should have buried that chance. We said if, but if he had buried that chance, and it would have been different. But like you said, you don't lose a final 6-0. I think after it was notorious for about 2 years, we go 2-0 down, and we just give up.
Yeah,
with the exception of the semi-final, of course. But
I was there as well for that one. I did a bit of media on that, and. Yeah, I mean, that was, again, that was a fantastic comeback, a really good day. And in essence, you look at that and think that was probably our cup final. Do you know what I mean? We came back, did that, and then everybody was resigned to losing to City. Now, you can get after City. It's been proved this year. You can get after them. It's just about mental attitude, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't watch a lot of the football. I tend to watch the cricket now. I get up at 4 a.m, watch the Sri Lanka England test. I'm going to get up to watch the India ones. Just think it's a bit more honest now. It's not so fluffy. It's not so, it's just is what it is. And when you go down the leagues, you know that yourself. The Championship's much more honest again, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think any one of 11 teams can go up this year.
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean, the grassroots football as well. I mean, you go right down to the grassroots, from Championship, League One, League Two, to the grassroots, national leagues, South, North, whatever. You get some great football, and that's where the football starts from. The guys work bloody hard, and they earn their corn. Whereas you go in the Premier League, it's just not the same. In the Championship, you've got every team's. Well, they're all up for it.
Well, they can all beat each other, can't they?
Yeah, they bully you. You've got to be up for the fight, because if you're not, you'll get beat easy.
I agree, and it's just that for me at the moment, it's just a bit weird, isn't it? No fans is weird.
Yeah,
and that's why you're seeing weird results, because it's like, especially when you're at home and you're an underdog, you need the crowd with you. I think it's just told everybody that how much fans are the be all and end all of our game.
It makes the game. Right. There's a couple of people. Callie's come on. Oi, hello, mate. He says, pricey. So Callie's on.
Callie will tell you how many times I kicked him at training. He'll tell you if you want to ask.
Callie, we need Callie. We need official stats here. We need exactly how many kicks he done you in training. Right. Stan WB said I was there in '84, and I can say it was the first and only time, and also Ray, I've ever really cried at a football match. And also Josh Price says, Neil, do you like pheasant?
Yeah, that's my brother, isn't
it? Love it.
Yeah, that's my brother, and yeah, that's an in joke, mate. It's a little bit too rude to say. I just say to him, how big's his head?
No, but, we need official.
Yeah. To be fair, there's a really good stat about me and my brother to do with Watford.
Go on.
Well, we both won the FA Youth Cup with Watford.
Yeah,
so
right.
my brother won, I think, in '87. They beat City, didn't they? We beat United in '82. There's another set of brothers that have done it. The only other set of brothers that have done it in different years. Wow. Who do you think they are?
Holdsworth.
No.
Oh no, they wouldn't, because they're twins, aren't they? Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Not for Watford in the history of our football.
I would say
not a Watford thing. It's a brothers thing in different years.
What about the Nevilles?
Yes, it's them. It's the only other two. The only other two.
Yeah. The only ones
different years. That's not bad. You've pulled that one right out of the bag. No one normally gets that.
That's the only ones I can think of. I said, right, I'll shout it anyway. He says every Friday, apparently. Callie says. Callie.
Callie, yeah. And I used to get sent in most Fridays as well, and get 50 quid for doing it.
Brilliant.
Tell you what, what an incredible player Callie was. Honestly, what an incredible. And because of growing up with the guys, I mean, he's a bit older than me with Steve and Kenny, but what an incredible time. I go up and see Callie when I can. We go up. We got our mate Lee. Do you know Lee Poulter? You know Lee, don't you?
Lee Poulter,
yeah. I got to know Lee through when we had the Callie benefit match here about 10 or 11 years ago now. That he comes down here and we go up there, me and my missus, and we have nights out there, and Callie's doing his DJing and stuff. So it's lovely. And when you get together, it's a bit like you've never been away. It's like you're all 19, 20 again. And it's lovely. And that's why we're trying to get this thing up and running with Lofa and everybody.
Yes, tell us more, people. We obviously know, and we're very proud to carry the banner. But if anyone doesn't know about it, what's it about?
Well, it's a real long story, so I'm not going to go in. But I mean, I started this with Graham, the legend, the former Players Association, in 2009 when he was just before he was. What was it? I don't think he was. Was he executive chairman at that time, or he was on the board at that time, something like that?
Yeah.
When they had the trouble with the Russos and all of that sort of stuff. And basically, I went to him and said, look, what about this? And he went, do you know what? I can get you a desk here. I can get you all the stuff here. If it's brilliant and I love it and blah, 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 blah. And we talked about it and he really wanted it. It was sort of something he wanted to set up always.
Yeah.
So he got me in, and then obviously it was going really well. And the club decided they want to take it inside the club. So I took on the role of doing the sales stuff as a side to it, really. It was a job title, really. And it went really, really well. But, the club didn't really back it. Once Graham had gone, when Graham was there, I was in 3 board meetings. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah, it was his little baby. That's what he wanted. He always wanted to give something back because, like I said to you before, Graham was ruthless. And, I think along the way, if you're topping any tree, any field, like, your Elon Musk's or your whatever, there's collateral damage. And some of the lads, were probably treated a little bit harshly at times, not on purpose, but it happened.
Yeah.
And he wanted to give back. He wanted to make sure everybody was okay and there was a fund in case somebody got ill or whatever it was. And he was really, really up for it. But as soon as Graham went in that capacity, they didn't. It was sort of like, oh, go on then. Do you know what I mean? And then when the Pozzos come, basically they weren't interested in any of that. So I was one of the first ones out the door, really. To be fair, with Raj and a few other people. So it was disappointing. We tried to get it together, and there's been a bit of umming and ahhing and false promises, and I got the right steaming up with them. And I left it after a while. We tried to get it going, and then Lufa got the same sort of treatment, didn't he? At times,
yeah,
I think he has at times. And we talked back last spring now, as lockdown was in, and we said, look, why don't we do this ourselves and do it for our own benefit and get some money in the pot? And Lauren's fantastic. Lauren does all the stuff that makes it work.
Yeah.
And Lufa's brilliant. I mean, Lufa is Mr. Watford now, isn't he? I mean, Elton's 76 in America. The gaffer's not here anymore. Lufa is. That's what Lufa is, and he's a smashing lad. And we're really trying to get things going with that. We've got a a WhatsApp group, which is, I mean, you wouldn't believe the names on there if you're a Watford fan, which is really nice. You know, from all sorts of eras. They're all the boys, and we all talk regularly. And someone puts a stupid bit of chat up, and loads of people. It's lovely. It's absolutely lovely. We're going to try and get golf days done, and we're going to try and get meetups and stuff, and little events and bits and pieces, and do lots for charity and that sort of stuff. And I think if we can do that, we'll be honouring the great man's name. Because I mean, Rita's in on it. Rita loves it. You know, she's put her name to it. We're trying to get Elton's name to it as well, which would be absolutely awesome. And yeah, just do some great things. You know, disadvantaged kids, hospitals, do all that sort of stuff. And I think there's a place for it. I don't think the modern day footballer has got. They're on a tram stop on a career, aren't they? They won't remember Watford. They won't give two hoots about Watford in 10 years' time, will they? But you've got a group of these lads that could fill that void and make Watford what it was the community family club, and it's not been that for a long time, has it?
No, I've made that. Yeah, no, thank you. I completely agree with Ray. That I remember a few months ago, Luther added me into one of your first chats, and it was like, oh, okay, McClellan's and a few others. It's like, oh, okay,
no, it's lovely.
It was brilliant. I was a little bit in awe, but I've not been like that for a while. But that was brilliant. I loved every minute of it.
Well, the thing is about all that. Okay, the thing is all about that. I mean, we didn't earn money like these guys earn. Most of us, you know, we're just normal people. I mean, John Mack was a postman, wasn't he? Is he still a postman?
I think he is actually.
Terry drives a van. You know, I work in property. Do you know what I mean? We're all, you know, what we are. And to be fair, we're just more normal than they are, because I think in our day you lived on the estates where everybody else lived. Yep. You know, your missus went to Sainsbury's where everybody else went. You had a drink on Saturday night, and people pulled up tables and chairs to tell you how shit you'd played that day. And you know, after they had a few beers, and then you ended up having a good chat and having a few beers with them. You know, and I think all that's gone, which is really sad. And that's the community feel that's gone, isn't it?
Yeah. I kept listening to Baisley all the time in Asda in Watford. It was crazy. Every time we went to Asda in Watford, I swear my dad deliberately went there because he knew what sort of time Baisley went. But every time I was like, oh, Darren, are you again?
Yeah, I know. And that's a shame that's not here anymore, isn't it? That's a shame, because what football is and gaffers and one other thing is a game for the working man, isn't it? Or the working person. Now, you know, it's normal people watch it, normal people go. And it's a shame that we've lost that. And I think whatever you want to call them, the former players or whatever we are, you know, whatever we are to people, I think we can really, and we have a great time doing it. And you know, to play golf with some like normal people who run businesses who want to, you know, we make 200 quid on the day, and it can go into a fund for £100 can go to good charities, and £100 can go into the fund for lads if they get on hard times. You know, there's no sides to that.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And Luther, and we all get it as we get older, and you know, Luther's an absolutely icon for that. You know, and Lauren is the driving force behind him as well. She makes the bits that she sort of joins up all the dots, really, which we all need. A bunch of blokes between you know 45 and 65 trying to work computers and stuff and bits and pieces and websites and links and stuff like that. We'd never do it, would we? So bless her. She's really enabling this to work.
Brilliant. No, she's. I chat with her every week. She's a fantastic woman. So that's a shout out to her, definitely. Just before you go, Neil, Deano, the young man.
Hello, Neil. How you doing, mate? You all right?
He don't look too young for me. He looks like someone. Who does he look like?
I don't know. What do you reckon?
Swampy, I think. He's been spotted again. He's been spotted again in an underground tunnel somewhere on the link.
That's where we found him.
Well, you know, he looks like Fabio Capello's son.
Brilliant. Dino, mate, you've only been on 2 seconds. You've been absolutely rinsed.
It's
I'll take it.
Pricing.
That's the shortest summing up you've had, mate. The shortest summing up.
You've just got Will on the in-betweeners as well. That's decent too.
Oh God.
It's great banter. It really is.
Oh, great stuff. Pricey, you're a bloody star, you're.
You're an absolute legend, mate. Honestly, I mean, really do. Used to eat in the football cafe with everyone else and training. That was Callie. What happened to George Riley? That's from Stan.
What with the actual story? Yeah, I mean, George was too much for himself. George was, he's a big man and he's like Scottish roots and come from Corby, which, Corby's a tough place. Still built and George wouldn't suffer falls. He'd have a skinful and it'd be as it was. I mean, I've got some great stories. Because we were both in Hemel. He used to live down on the riverside. We used to go out all the time. And remember the old wagon and horses?
I've heard of the wagon and horses.
No, it's just a brilliant lad. I speak to him every now and again. He's just got remarried actually, I think last year. But he's all right now. I think he had a few run-ins with a Plymouth fan apparently. And he bit the bottom of his ear off, didn't he?
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah, I think he had a bit of that. He probably, I mean, look, I know George, he'd give as good as he got. So it's not really a big deal. But yeah, George was just a normal bloke. Again, there you are. He's a normal bloke that happened to be playing football for a number of years. And whilst he played, he was earning a bit more money than he was before. Yeah, and that's the story of most of our lads, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was a bricklayer, wasn't he? He was a bricklayer.
Yes, still is. Yeah, no, look, he's a great lad, and to be fair, he's well, and he's really good, and he's remarried, and he sees his kids and stuff like that. So, to be honest, he's doing well for himself. Yeah, cool.
Right. Okay. So, Pricey, mate, thank you ever so much.
Cheers, guys. Lovely to see you.
Love your wife. Tell her thank you ever so much for looking after everyone.
Yeah, she's a diamond, mate. So every credit. Yeah. So look, it's lovely to see you. Keep in touch with me, guys, because if there's anything you want, just give me a bell or a text or whatever.
Of course, Pricey. Thank you so much, mate. Love to the family.
Thanks for having me on. Cheers, guys.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right, okay.
Whoa.
Right. Hey, there's a bit of a change up. Right, there we go. Right.
Pig in the middle.
Young man is back. He is definitely back. Right. Just before we go on, we will be reading out all your comments and suggestions and all of that right now. But just before we go, we've got Josh Price, Postman Pat there as well. Josh, he hasn't got a black and white cat. So that's no, but right, okay. Like we always say, big thank you to Pricey himself. Fantastic interview. So thank you ever so much, mate. We will be getting him back on. Promise you, we will be getting him back on. Yeah, right. Okay. So let's get the fan questions. Right. So Gary Iron says, do you guys reckon the owners are not living up to the statement they put out at the start of the season? They made mistakes and plan to put it right. I can't see this happening now. And with Gosling coming in, I think it may be a mistake. Why not a hungry younger player? But that's obviously down to everyone. That Dan Gosling, good luck at the club. Signed a 2.5-year deal from Bournemouth, 30-year-old, also a youth team player from Everton. So great prospect back then. Obviously, he left Everton because of contract disputes. He wasn't playing many games. But a lot of Bournemouth fans are actually gutted that he's left, guys. So do you want to take this on, boys? I thought it's a half-decent signings, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people aren't going to be happy because it's probably a freebie, and because Opposed haven't spent any money, and a few of those in this transfer window, haven't we? We just signed Pochettino's son as well today, a winger from Spurs. I think that with the future, looking at the future as a winger, and another one. But then I looked at that and I thought, we need something now. Yes, we can build the youth, but we need people now that are going to get us over the edge to get promotion. And I was a bit disappointed in one sense, because we haven't fulfilled what we're going to do. We've got one more day left. Are we going to get Dwight Gale? Are we going to get Vidra, the swap with anybody with Gray? There's all sorts of things going on out there, and nothing concrete. And that's the bit you're sweating over. The last day, you're thinking, oh, "Come on, please get a good signing. Please get us a striker. Please do this. Please do that." And then by 11 o'clock at night, you exhaust all your means, and you look. Well, what happened today? Nothing. What's happened at London Coney? Where is it? Where are we going? What's happening? You know, we've seen with Garner. Garner's gone. He's gone to Nottingham Forest now. Yeah, we thought that might happen because he won't get any game time. But and good luck to him, by the way, because I think he's got a good bit. You know, I think he'll do well. Do you know?
Do you know, mate? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm annoyed at Gardner going. I'm really pissed off at that, to be honest with you. I know he hasn't played well lately, but I think you give him a bit more time with Hughesy, he would have shown his potential, because he did at the start. He's 19 for Christ. I've got nothing against Gosling. He is a good player, 2.5 years. It's nothing against freebies. You get good freebies. I'm not worried about the cost.
Yeah.
He's played in the Championship. He's played in the Premier League, so he is a good ad. Nothing to do with the age, but you do need some youth in the team, and especially in midfield. They're not bad players, Hughes, Cleverly, Shalaba, all good players, but you do need one that could open up a team in midfield, and I still believe that is Gardner. And where's he gone? Forest. I think Forest are getting a very good player if they keep playing him. I think he's going to show his potential. Yeah, I'm very annoyed at that Gardner one, to be honest with you. Very annoyed.
What do you think about the thoughts at Leicester after Shalaba?
We can't sell Shalaba now, can we? Unless a ridiculous price comes in, we can't. I know he hasn't been at his best, but he's too valuable to us now. We can't get rid of him as well now. I don't see who else in midfield we could play there, really. It might loosen it up a bit, but unless something like 20 million comes in for him, I can't see us be silly to sell him, wouldn't it, to be honest with you?
Yeah.
It'd be ridiculous.
Just before we go on, can I just say condolences to the family of Michael Molyneux, the Mole, who sadly passed away this morning, age 65. So this podcast is dedicated to you, the Mole, or Moley, who sadly passed away this morning, aged 65. So a Watford legend who's been taken way too soon up in Hornet heaven. So that's once again, just like to repeat, that's condolences, sincere condolences to Michael's friends and family at this difficult time today. So so very, very sad passing of Michael. Right, okay, so we get on to Stuart Stain said, time for new owners. This is obviously your opinion, so we're reading out every single one. He said, time for new owners, no ambition, same as at Udinese, asset stripping, blaming COVID, discuss. Personally, I'll throw this out to you guys in a second. Personally, I think what they've done improving the ground and all around, fantastic. I have mentioned the fact that I think the aura around the club is not the same as it was. It never will be, to be honest. I can tell. I get people's view when they say that to me, but you just don't get the same sense that you had years ago. I know it's not going to be the same, but I think you can still have that sort of feeling about a club in some way or another. But guys, I'll throw it out to you and everyone else who's watching as well. Do you think should be a new changing of the guard, or you just think, no, they've done fantastic, let's keep with them, they're doing the right things? Firstly, what do you guys think?
Well, half of me says yes. I think we should change it. I think there's been a lot of mistakes made. They've done a lot of good at the beginning with the structure, as you said, and bringing in good players, although that was disputed at the time by various folklore in football. But we got promoted in the end, and we proved a lot of critics wrong. But we didn't sustain our transfer thing, Majoraldi and that. We needed players to keep us in the Premier League, and they failed to do that. And as a consequence, we're now seeing the fallout. We're trying to, although we're handily placed in the division, as we said at the beginning of the season, if we could be in the top six, it'd be good. Let's see what happens. But I'm about 50-50 on it. Half of me says, look, we need a new buyout, somebody to come along and invest in the club. And the other half says, well, prove me wrong, please. Prove us wrong, and show us that you've got the balls to, pardon me saying so, to make the decisions and get us the players we need.
Yeah. Deano.
Yeah, I'm a bit with Ray, really. I'm 50-50 and all. I do. Maybe it is time. I don't know if it's to do with money or something. They're not spending. You don't have to always spend loads of money on players, but and the other part of me does want him to stay and prove us wrong, because we are still in a good position at the moment, aren't we? We third, and I believe Swansea and Norwich play each other very soon. So if we can get a couple of wins, we could probably sneak into second spot. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, really. People asking them to go. You can't really argue with it, really, because they could be right. It might be I think it is going a bit stale all of a sudden. And it makes you think, will they stay if we don't get promoted? That's another thing. Will they then go and say, I've had enough? And then, we could be in trouble after that, couldn't we? We might lose quite a few more players, but we'll soon find out in the next couple of months. Will soon tell a story, won't it?
Yeah. Right. Okay. So we've got next one's Chris Adams. He says, Dan Gosling, what's he going to bring to the party? Right. I'll throw it to you guys first, and then I'll come in with this. But like I say, everyone, when we put out the questions, you guys put out your opinions about it. We've already had a bit about Gosling. We've also said, one of the guys and girls said, Bournemouth fans say Gosling is a hard worker, but not the most creative player. But I think it is creativity that our midfield needs. So Dan Gosling, what do you reckon he's going to bring to the party?
Experience, I think. He's done a bit. He's been in the Championship. He's gone to the Premier League. He's got a bit of steel about him. Be interesting to see how he moves forward with us. A new challenge, fresh start, and we're up there. That joining a club that's progressive, maybe sort of halfway to getting to our goal, is good, or 3/4 to get to our goal. Sorry, I think he'll do us some good. He is a good player. He's proved that in the past, and he scores goals as well. He scored 22 for Bournemouth. He's able to do that. I think he played 161 appearances, scored 22 goals. So there is something about him. He's not a bad player. He could be a missing link that we need. He's got something to prove to us, hasn't he? He needs a fresh start. Obviously, he went a bit stale from at Bournemouth. There's a lot of competition there at Bournemouth with new players coming in and freshening it up a bit with players that have left there. So I believe a fresh challenge will be useful to us.
Yeah, he might give us a bit more bite in midfield, because sometimes I think in centre mid we can be a bit soft, and I don't think Dan Gosling's a bit scared to put a challenge in, which we probably do miss a bit, and if he can come up with a couple of goals this season, another thing we lack in some places, don't we? Like you said, Ray, experience. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a bad player, because he is a good player. It's a good on a free as well. It's a great one to add. But just like I said, it's the creativity I worry about, because we haven't got many of them, if any, in centre mid, have we? Really, it's going to open up a team. But hey, I hope he proves me wrong. He might even get a start on tomorrow. You never know, do you? It might really freshen it up. But we'll soon see.
Yeah, well, we got Kevin Lewell saying Gosling has left the sinking ship. Tracy's going on about the obviously Shalabar going. Says reckon Shalabar is going, had his time. Gosling will do the dirty work, which is what we need. Also, Stan saying it is not creativity in the midfield that the midfield needs. It is someone who does the dirty work. So Gosling could fit very well. We've said all this as well. We've all said, and Grimes was the one that I was banging the drum about. Still am now. That Gosling does a similar sort of role where he's not creativity-wise, he's not fantastic. He'll probably admit that he's himself. But what he gives you is that little bite in midfield, that little nastiness that allows the players like the Hugheses that are also good, but, hasn't got enough bite than, say, like the Goslings will bring us. So it allows him to sort of sit there and break up play and allow the Hugheses and even the Shalabars, to be fair, to roam forward and start creating a bit more, and it'd probably give them a bit more freedom if we have sort of more of a dirty player in there. And that's not to knock Gosling at all, because that's more of a backhanded compliment and the way Gosling plays, because that's where he built most of his career on, is being more of a dirty player that, you know, that breaks play up, gives it to the players that can actually play, and then, you know, basically gives us that possession, wins back the possession quicker. So, look, you know, the guy's 30. Capoue was 32 when he's left. So, you know, he is 1 or 2 years younger than Capoue. Even, you know, we've got him on a 2.5-year deal. So if he does the job that he's made for, and he helps us get promoted, it doesn't mean we're going to play him in the top division. He's here to do a job in the Championship. And Gosling, as a player, is not a bad signing if you're looking at it from the finance point of view. On the forum, I did say, look, you know, and I was, you know, discussing with the likes of Danny Mole and people like that I was disappointed we didn't spend the cash. There is another side to it. And I was stand corrected as well there as well, that I said that they were saying that, you know, if we take that gamble and we spend 15 million on, say, like a Tony, and it didn't come off, then you're lumbered with a player on big wages, possibly big wages, and, you know, it's properly known as a gamble. But if you do put that money in, then, you know, like we look at Tony now, he's excellent. He's going to be that player that can play now. He's young, he's hungry, and he can make the step up. Then it works out. But looking back at the Gosling one, in terms of finance, he's good value for money, because we didn't pay anything for him. So it's 2 signings. We've got that Elliott's come in, goalkeeper. The reason behind it is because we can't recall back Dahlberg, and also Foster's still out. So it makes perfect sense we get him on a half a season deal and then reassess at the end of the season.
Dahlberg's injured, isn't he? He's got something.
Yeah, Dahlberg's injured as well. So there was no point calling him back anyway. So, right.
How much?
Go on.
Oh.
Go on.
How much do you think we got for Delafeo?
About 20.
12, weren't it?
Was it 12?
12 million.
Someone said 12. Don't hold me to it, but someone put 12 million. Don't hold me to that, but I did see that somewhere.
I'm not saying you're lying. I can't believe we only got 12 million. You thought the Pozzos, as much as they get stick, even Amanda, by the way, even as much as stick that myself has given them and everyone else, they do know how to sell players. Like Richarlison, for instance. No way we would have got 50 million for him if he was not young and Brazilian. Put that way. Probably about 90 million if he was English, but there you go. Right. Bunny Kins Roberts has said Troy Deeney being captain. I say yes. I say at the moment. I would have actually, when Deeney was out, I wanted Hughes or Kafka or Cleverley. I was happy with Cleverley. But Deeney's still a leader on the pitch. That's one thing I would say. Still a leader. But how long has he got being the leader? How long until he can actually, you know, till he's a bench warmer? Because I think if we went up, he can still do a job, but it'll be from the bench.
For me, it's Cleverley at the moment.
Cleverley, yeah.
Yeah, for me at the moment, yeah. I think he's really come, you know, he's doing that dirty work we're talking about. I've got nothing against Deeney. I love the man, you know. If he was captain, I wouldn't argue, but I think Cleverley's our captain now. Deeney's vice captain. I can't see why. Or maybe someone else, you know, maybe go younger, but no, I think Cleverley for now.
That's what Tracy Hawkins said. Give it to Cleverley.
Yeah, Cleverley, definitely.
Sorry, Ray, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I think Cleverley and bringing obviously the oh God, his name in a minute. I was going to say, yeah, Cleverley, yeah, definitely for the captainship, and I think we'll get in there eventually as well one day. Yeah.
Oh, Will, yeah, perfect captain material, I believe, as well. Right, okay, we've got still a few more, so we'll skip through this as quick as we can, but we'll read out every single one, guys and girls. Right, okay, so Paul Langdon, club going backwards in transfers. Where is the ambition gone? I mean, this is probably centred around at least 3 or 4 transfer windows, including the start probably last season when, okay, Saar was a decent signing, showed signal of intent. We said at the time, me and Ray said Dawson, the club cut their cloth. This is in the words of Ray, by the way, cut their cloth accordingly in buying Dawson, who was at the time, and I said this as well, a very stable centre-back. Obviously, the way season gone and ups and downs, that's kind of dispelled slightly, shall we say. But I think that Paul's got a point in terms of transfers. This season, in the summer, we know we're not going to spend millions. I think, with my opinion, it was more hope than reality. But, yeah, it's something that we've seriously got to look at. If we get any success this season, if we go up, there's got to be serious investment made in this club. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we've got to find a way of doing it. Because, what do you reckon, boys?
Well, if we go up, we need to spend at least 100 million when we go up. Easily.
Minimum.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know Fulham did it and they went straight back down, but I think it's how you spend your money.
Yeah, spot on.
You've got to look at your positional play and look at the areas where you need to strengthen. Left, right back, whatever. One midfielder, the centre forward. You've got to spend it wisely, not just throw money at it and hope it's going to happen. There's got to be some wise choices.
Well, you are right there, Ray. You're definitely going for Tony if they don't go promoted, wouldn't you? You chuck what 25 million, 20 million. That's one striker. You got definitely a couple of centre mids if we are to go up, some world class. I'd probably look at Brentford again. Haven't they got a good player called Wild? I think he is. A little lad called Wilder or something. Wild, really good midfielder again. There is one player I forgot about who plays for Chelsea. He actually scored today, was Alonso. I know he's knocking on a bit, but he's sort of a reality one you could get, couldn't you, for a reasonable price, because he's knocking on a bit. I know I don't like older players, but you're talking about, not a bad left back, are you? I'd look at him as well, but
I think so. Brentford don't go up, mate. I'd still go after Tony next season if that happens. I know that's a big if, and a lot of people have a lot of doubt, which is I can understand where they're going from. But I'd go back in for Tony if we went up, and I'd also go after Jamal Lowe, because I think Jamal Lowe could give us a bit of trouble in that division as well. Okay, that will probably be considered a gamble. But like you said, the players like Alonso, we get one or two of these more experienced heads that won't cost the earth. And we're still after that Rennes player, but there's a lot of talk about the fee not, some of the Saar fee not being paid, like 8 million or so. So I think that's got to be ironed out. But he'd be a decent sign. If we get him as well, that'll be I think the Gosling signing is the change for Capoue. And we get this lad in from Rennes as well. That's good. That'll be a very, very good signing, I think.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think you've got Tony. Tony's the one. I think he's the best striker in that championship at the moment. Followed by Lowe, because he's a class striker, Lowe. And the way he scored his goal for Swansea, the winner, but he just held off at the back post. Yes, it was Foster's fault, but it's the way he just hung back and just flicked it. Great technique. So you've got two class strikers, but I think Tony shades it. I'd definitely go for him.
Right, okay, I'll try and put these two, because this is down to the transfer window. We've got about 5 minutes, so we'll get these through. Angela's one, people's thoughts in general, so we'll get that in as well. So Angela, we'll get that as we'll sort of link that in with what we're doing now. Guy Wellborn, firstly, says, is there a coherent transfer policy or just panic? Thought the intention was to bring overall squad age down, not increase it. That's probably linked to, obviously, Gosling coming in. Also, we'll throw that in as well as Stuart's one, where it says, obviously stating the obvious, striker has to be a priority to sign in this window. Dwight Gale would score a bag full for us. And obviously, Ray, you've been shouting that as well. I think Deano's mentioned him also. Don't think he's getting much game time at Newcastle. We've got Matty Longstaff could be signing for us as well. I would really want Matty Longstaff. I thought he's the the better brother. Probably a lot of people won't agree with that. But
it's the long staff of the short staff, isn't
it? They take the long and the short, and yeah, that's the problem.
Exactly that.
Sorry, but right, okay. So go on.
I don't think he panics, the Pozzos. I always think they sort of know what they're doing. Like you said, with the Gosling, it was a fee, but he's got good experience, and I think you're right. It's a replacement for Capoue. Longstaff will be a good add to it. I think we've got the striker in Pedro. I really do. I'm frustrated at him. He seems to he either scores or he wins a penalty, and then you don't see him next week. He's on the bench. And for me, no, it's getting ridiculous with him now, because I don't want to keep mentioning Gray. I'm fed up with him now. Give this boy a chance, because, he is our joint top goal scorer with Deano. You can't keep bloody dropping him. He is a striker. He's got a lot of talent, and we got to build him up. Even if we don't get promoted, he needs game time. And you've got to stop bloody rotating him for Gray. Gray's done now. Gray, I've had enough of Gray. I don't even care if he comes on and scores. Nothing happens with Gray. He just loses the bloody ball. But with Pedro and Deano, Pedro's got that sort of thing that something could happen. He could do a little flick, nutmeg someone. That's the sort of thing you didn't need now. And Pedro is the way forward now. You've got a consistency. Play him. He's a striker. He's 19. He is not going to get tired after 2 bloody games. He can do 7 or 8 until you rotate him. They've got to sort that out. That's that's for the striker. You've got to sort that out. Stop bloody rotating him.
Yeah, exactly. Right, Ray. What do you reckon of that, mate? The policy. We're supposed to bring the age down, but obviously not at the moment too much. What do you reckon? And also Dwight Gale, mate, because you were the one mainly who's really been banging the drum about this lad. I think a lot of people said that through the last couple of years as well, that every time Dwight Gale goes down to a club, he seems to score goals, and it'd be a perfect fit, wouldn't he?
I think so. I think he'd fit in perfectly. He'd settle in very quickly, and he knows this league really, really well. He's played in League One as well, as playing in the Premier League. Yes, he's tiny, doesn't matter. He's quick. He's very quick. He's a jack in the box. You get the ball to his feet in the box, he'll score goals. Flick-ons, whatever, he'll put the ball away. Unlike Gray, I just think he'll be the answer. Sorry to mention, did I say something? The word okay, but I think it'd be the answer. And as the last question you said about the average age, I think to be fair, you're going to be looking at an average age of about 27 in the team, 27, 28, as opposed to 30, 32. You might have 1 or 2 players borderline in that in your team, but if you've got an average around the table age of about 27, that's fine. 27, 28.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So thank you ever so much, everyone. We're almost out of time. Ray, you got anything non-league or anything to throw out? Because you didn't. I forgot to ask you before we went online, but no, not really.
Not a lot. No. Bournemouth lost 2-1 at home. An awful lot. And Barnet lost at home to Torquay United. Torquay are running away with it. Seagulls.
Deano knows. Okay, so tomorrow night, obviously, we've got the QPR game. We will be looking at that in a little bit more detail. We got through so much today, we didn't have a preview, but we will try and preview that tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. The Monday night preview. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And also, shall we say 10 o'clock, Ray, tomorrow night for the fans' verdict?
Absolutely. Get the drinks on the table. We're ready. We'll be fine.
The beverages up. Get the beverages, definitely, mate.
Absolutely.
We might try and drag the young man along for the Monday night preview, but I'll speak to him after we go off air. So the beverages will be on ice, ready for definitely 10 o'clock. So that's 7 o'clock Monday night preview. Looking at the lineup, all your opinions, see the predictions as well for tomorrow night, 7:45 kickoff, and then straight away after full time at 10 o'clock, we've got the fans' verdict. So we'll get your opinion on the goings on at the Vic. Right. Okay, guys. So go on, Ray. Quickly, mate.
Very quick, very quick. I'll be doing the half-time preview just to let you know about 8:30.
Yeah, you want to watch it. Honestly, we'll post it up on the forum. So if you cannot find his personal profile, we will be posting it up. So I do promise that we will be dragging that out. And please get onto that halftime podcast from Sir Ray. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not just we'll probably slag it off when he goes off air, but honestly, mate, when he's on there, honestly, guys, joking aside, it's absolutely brilliant. He gets loads of people on there. He gets his hardcore fans from his podcast, the Ray Cook Report, as well. So get onto the halftime report, vent your frustrations, and then watch you eat humble pie at full time when we end up winning. That's probably what I'm going to do, to be honest. Right.
Please win tomorrow, please.
Yeah, just remember also, if we don't say it, a big happy birthday to Watford's favourite son, Luther Blissett, tomorrow night. He's 25 again, everyone. So, yes. So you'll like me saying that. Right. As always, yeah, that's it. As always, you've been beautiful. We've been TMA. It's good night from Sir. Oh, good night from Sir Ray.
And it's good night from Deano.
Yeah, it's good night from Pidge.
See you later, everyone. Bye.
Bye.